We are rolling.
Wonderful.
So I want to say a big hi to the beautiful Leanne Barker.
Hi, Medyhne.
Hi. And Leanne is here today to tell us about her wealth of experience in the field of living spiritually and living with a higher awareness and a higher consciousness. And I must say that Leanne has had a big life. She's done a lot of different things in the world. But what I get from Leanne is that she is very much living according to this creed, and she magnetizes people, and she has a beautiful warmth and loving, you know, divinely connected energy that is really, really special. And I think that we can learn a lot from what she has to share, and I feel really grateful to have her here today. So thank you so much, Leanne.
And thank you for having me. I feel very blessed.
And I'm going to ask some questions and leave you to tell me about your experience and you know, just a brief rundown of what you've done in the world. And again, I think we're really lucky to have you, so thank you.
Thank you, Medyhne. Well, look, I've been around for a long time, and I have had many wonderful experiences in life, and I've worked in different areas, so it's all sort of part of what makes me who I am today. I worked with children. My background is with children, and I worked with socially disadvantaged families when I was a lot younger, and I learnt so much from that experience. It was a profound experience for me because I learnt a lot about myself in the process. So I'm very grateful to have had that to have had that time with the children in the way that I did. I've also worked with an amazing woman called Anita Roddick, and she founded the Body Shop in Melbourne, in England actually, and I was able to meet her on many occasions, and I had a wonderful connection with her.
She was very pro-environment, wasn't she, helping the world in that way?
She certainly was, and she walked her talk basically.
Yes.
She was an amazing woman, and I'm very grateful to have been able to spend time with her, and also to work in the Body Shop. I managed body shops, and I also was a trainer, an assistant trainer for the Body Shop for a number of years, and that was in different capacities.
Fantastic. It's great to hear about your background in that area. So, Leanne, I'd love to ask you now some questions about your views on spirituality and life. So I thought I'd start with your views on what it means for you to have something in your life that is beyond the physical, you know, the feeling of just being in the world without any sort of spiritual foundation or anything. What that would be as compared to having one. How does that make a difference for you in your life to have that sense of something being there beyond yourself?
It is my life, and really basically I guess we are spiritual beings who are having a physical experience, and that's I guess you've heard that adage many times, and it's true. And I think that in this day and age, I think what we forget is that we do have that divine spark in us, and that we need to connect with that divine spark within us. And every single person has it. We are all connected. We are all one. And it's just that we have forgotten often that we do have that within us. So it's being able to make that connection, and that's what really, to me, is the essence of life. It's being able to connect with the true person within, which is your divine self, or God within.
So it's like essential for you in your happiness to be able to feel that.
Absolutely. I mean, it brings me incredible joy. When I connect with the divine, I feel totally at one with the whole of the universe, and I feel totally in love with the whole of the universe and all beings. And that's what I believe it's about. And often in our society we become separate, and I think that's what has, in the past, I think that's what's caused a lot of the grief for different people, is because they don't have that heart connection with divine. And I believe that our number one relationship in our life is our connection with divine, and in saying that, also our connection, or our love of self. And when we connect with that divine spark within us, that is connecting with the true self. And so it's love of thyself as well. They go hand in hand in a way.
Absolutely. And that is definitely a quality that you radiate, which is love of self and love of others. It really shines through you.
Thank you.
So my next question, which leads me to that from what you've just been saying, is how do you yourself connect? What's your own way of connecting that works for you best, that you can share with others, that other people can learn from?
So how do we do this? Well, for me personally, what I do is I meditate. Meditation opens the heart. It opens the heart and the channel to the divine. And the more you do it, the more connected you feel, and the more you're able to bring that divine self into matter. Quite often what happens in our lives is that we get caught up in the duality, so to speak, which is positive and negative and so on. But when you're connected with divine, it's blissful. You are totally at one. There is no duality, there is no illusion. It's just you are connected and you're at one. And the more you do this, the more you radiate that in all aspects of your life. And in saying that, being connected helps you to manifest whatever you wish for in your life. So if you are wanting to be joyous and happy, and or you're wanting abundance or prosperity, by connecting with divine, or through an open sacred heart, we're able to manifest whatever we want in our lives. And that's what brings about an amazing feeling of bliss, actually.
That's true. For everyone that comes in, each person has their own purpose that they're here to perform while being on this plane. And I think that there's a sense of emptiness or dissatisfaction if people are not able to step into that purpose. No matter what else they can fulfill in their lives, they might have great relationships, they might have other things, but if you aren't doing the thing that your soul is being called to do while you're here, there's a definite lack of joy or happiness. And so that point that you made about being able to manifest what you really need to manifest is so important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, very well said. So my next question that I want to ask is, are there other ways apart from meditation that, maybe everyday things or simple things or other things, ways that people can maybe explore their connection? Maybe people are not 100% sure about their connection, or they're developing their connection. What are some other ways as well that people can, make that connection, do you think?
I think it's really, or feel that it's really important that we live in the here and now. So we're not thinking about yesterday or tomorrow. We're just totally present, here and now. When we're present, then that is when we make that connection. It's a bit like, in a way, having a telephone line to heaven. I mean, that's metaphorically speaking, of course. I mean, I personally believe that God is within, and you know, God, I guess, means many different things to us all, and it's very much an individual thing. We live in the here and now. That's when we are making that connection. It's just the other things that can get in the way that stop us from having that open line to the divine.
Yes, very good point. Okay, that's great. Thank you for that. And that's very much Eckhart Tolle and all his work, isn't it?
It
too?
is, absolutely.
The power of now.
Yes.
Okay, so I've noticed too just recently that another thing that's been happening is people around the world have been transcending the ego or the I or the self-identity in order to connect with more of the divine, higher consciousness, the collective consciousness. So how for you do people perhaps work towards transcending the ego and connecting to something higher than themselves? Because I think often our pain and suffering and things do come from the aspect of our being the ego. So what would you say would be something that you would recommend to people to work on that path?
So how do I transcend my ego? I mean, it's something that I work on every day, and so for me personally, when I communicate with divine every day, that's my first conversation that I have in the morning, and I ask the divine to help me to release all ego, attachments, mindsets, and limitations that hold me back from being the divine essence that I am, that we all are. We're all that beautiful essence. It's just being able to connect with that. And so in asking divine to help me do that, it's a kind of letting go. And
that's so important, that sense of being able to surrender, that sense of control that we all hold on to, that gives us our, you know, we often have fear of survival that's like at an unconscious level. Wanting to control things is based on that fear of surviving. So once we let that go, I think that makes an enormous difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, it is incredibly liberating, and I want to share something with you that I experienced at the beginning of this year.
Beautiful, thank you.
At the beginning of the year, I was diagnosed with uterine cancer, and naturally when you go through a health crisis like that, you go into fear. Or I did. I had a knee-jerk reaction. But one of the things that I do with every single thing that I do in my life is I always ask myself the question, am I coming from fear, or am I coming from an open, loving heart? Once I know where I'm coming from, then I can work with what I need to work with. And as I say, my initial reaction was fear, and then I was able to transform that into pure love. And so it's been an amazing journey, and I have grown enormously from the experience, and I've let go of a lot. I've let go of probably layers and layers of ego and you know, attachments. I'm finding that I'm just wanting to cull everything from my life and just have a very simple life that is free of blockages and so on. So it has been an amazingly transforming.
And the most wonderful news has been that you've just recently been given the all clear with it all, having maybe gone through that journey and learned what you need to learn. It's now no longer relevant, and you've been able to let it go.
Absolutely, yes, exactly. I mean, that's been with the
icing on the cake.
The icing on the cake, so to speak. Piece de resistance.
That's right. Yeah. So, what would be, in terms of your encouragement for young people these days who, when you're younger, were you aware of this spiritual aspect of yourself when you were younger, or not necessarily?
I was.
Yeah.
And I wasn't aware of it like I am today.
Yes.
And so
changes.
Yeah, absolutely. I knew something, and I didn't know everything. Well, I certainly don't know everything now either, but I know a lot more than I did then. And I guess what I would say to young people is that meditation is, I believe, the way to connect with your divine self, and in turn that brings about amazing joy and abundance and prosperity. And as I said before, living in the moment and expressing who you really are from that place of connection with divine. And you can do that in all kinds of modalities, creatively, or through music, or it can come out in so many ways. But it's just really finding that inner joy and inner peace that you can express in many different ways.
Beautiful, thank you. My last question for you today is, Leanne, I'd love to hear what you think about what you'd like to see in the world coming. What sort of world are you envisaging that you would like to see in the near future, not too far away? How does it look for you?
What I'd like to see in the world in the near future, yesterday preferably, is us all being totally united and as one, and that we all love one another as our neighbours, as ourselves, love one another, and that we all find that inner peace and joy, and that all the animals, we can relate to all the animals, and we do that on a soul level, to all beings and all souls of humanity.
Have you got a vision of how this world will look in terms of what people will be doing, or anything like that?
In terms of what people will be doing, I think certainly working together in harmony together,
more community,
and more community oriented, community type living, whereby we all live together in peace and harmony, and that we grow our own vegetables, we're self-sufficient, and we live simple but very nourishing lives, and we all come from a place of love.
Do you think it's far away? What's your feeling?
I think there is. I think we do have a way to go. However, in saying that, I do see that there are changes being made on the planet. People are awakening and opening their hearts more and becoming more compassionate and wanting to find inner peace and joy. So I guess that's a start. We need to start somewhere. So I can see changes are happening, and that's a great thing.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much. That's been fantastic. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Mwah. And
Thank you so much for having me.
that's a pleasure. Thank you so much, Leanne. A song for you. I know you dreamed of me, and I hope that life gives you every chance to win.